All right, hello everyone, welcome to this video. This is going to be a conceptual explanation of thermal expansion in regards to holes in rings. Now, you already know from reading or from previous video that if we have a rod of material like this and you heat it up, that rod will increase in length. So we'll have a change of length delta L because of some change in temperature delta T. And the reverse will also be true, by the way. If you started with the long rod and decreased the temperature, you would contract down to the shorter length rod. So the first interesting part of today's explanation is what happens if we take the rod and we wrap it into a circle or into a ring. So if we start with a rod that's been wrapped into a circle, I'm just going to put a little cut in here, not really a cut, but just a little line to just help you imagine that we've just taken this straight piece and we've just bent it around into a circle so that it looks like this. And now, if we increase the temperature, what's going to happen? Well, you know in the linear case, the rod gets longer. If we've wrapped it into a circle, that just means that we're going to get a bigger circle. The slight oval shape here and the change in the width was not intentional. The point is that this diameter, D1, is now going to increase here. We're going to have D2. The circumference, the diameter gets bigger and the circumference gets bigger because the length of the material has also increased. So that one's somewhat straightforward, just once you visualize it. Now we move on to the hard case, or harder until you know the trick anyways, which is if you have a metal plate that has a hole in it, what will happen when this changes in temperature? What makes this problem a little tricky is that we could imagine two different scenarios in which the thermal expansion will take place. But it turns out that only one of these scenarios is going to be correct. So I'll start with the wrong one because sometimes people can think about that more intuitively. So this is going to be the right one, the correct one, and this is going to be the wrong one. So the wrong one is that people will assume that this diameter of hole, D1, will actually contract. So we would come over here and we would imagine they have now an even smaller hole, D2, and that's not going to happen. It seems like it could happen because if we consider this material over here expanding, we can see that in this case, that material has expanded successfully. So that could seem like a thermal expansion. But the problem is if you think about the material that's going around the hole, this material here, actually that material will have shrunk down in this case here. That it will have contracted. And we can't have any material that's undergoing contraction if we're raising the temperature. We have to have everything expanding. So the other option, the correct option, is to have the hole actually get bigger. And in fact, the whole plate, the dimensions of the whole plate will also expand. So now we're going to have this as D2. So this works because now the material along this perimeter has expanded. As far as this side material can also expand. So the hole can get bigger and the whole plate can also expand out larger as well. I didn't draw that in this particular case, I'm just focusing on the hole. But in fact, you know, this whole plate can now have also gotten larger by a little bit. So that allows this scenario here with the hole getting bigger actually allows everything to have expanded out. There's no part that's contracted, everything has expanded. And that is going to be the scenario that happens when you heat up a metal plate. The hole will get larger. Okay, so that is the explanation here for thermal expansion of holes and rings. Just to review, we started with a linear piece. We know that that gets longer. If you wrap it into a circle, into a ring, the ring will increase in diameter. And in some sense, the plate with the hole in it is nothing more than a series of concentric rings. And we know that every one of those rings is going to get larger, which means the whole plate is basically going to get larger, including the center ring. So you could think of that plate as just a collection of expanding rings. and you will get the right answer. All right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.